In this video, we'll demonstrate a couple of features on the Vortex that are important to help you identify tricky iron targets you wish not to dig. Specifically, we'll talk about iron volume and iron audio. And if used properly, these can help you hear the iron and also avoid digging certain kinds of tricky iron. The first feature is iron volume, which simply allows you to reduce the sound of ferrous targets. Where you have your setting on your non-ferrous targets remains high volume. I'll demonstrate this here in a second. I've got a fairly clean patch of ground and zero to scrim, not a lot of sound going on there. And I put a little piece of wood here just so you can see my target, but nothing there. This is an old square nail. Drop it on this board and go over it and listen to the ferrous sound. Pretty distinctive iron grunt. So relic hunters, people hunting old Civil War campsites and stuff like that, iron is your friend. You want to hear the iron and know it's there. But in my case particular, I want it lowered so I know it's there, but I don't have to listen to it that loud. So I simply just go in here to my iron controls, to iron volume, and I will just turn it down a little bit. That's down to 5. A little bit lower. There's 2. Very faint iron volume, but guess what? If I pick up this old square nail and put a nickel down here, just a regular old coin, my non-ferrous audio is still loud like I want it. So I can hear the iron and know it's there, but I don't want to hear it as much, but I want to hear the good stuff like that. That's one of the values of iron volume. Another menu setting on the Vortex for audibly identifying iron is the iron audio feature. So let's talk about that for a second and what that means in particular the single frequencies or in multi-salt. Iron audio can be used in any of Vortex's single frequencies and in multi-frequency and in multi-salt operation. When you're in Vortex's multi-frequency operation, there are more advanced, more adjustable controls to work with ferrous targets that go beyond the iron audio you use in single frequency or in multi-salt. In multi-frequency, these advanced bottle cap reject and iron boundary controls let you precisely control these iron challenges. So let's go over a couple of iron targets and see how they sound in zero discrimination with iron audio off. Nothing is discriminated. I'm going to start with this little square nail again. I'm going to put it down in my little test bed area here and lift up and go back over that. Reading around 26, 27 with a lot of iron grunts. Obvious iron target. Let's put this bottle cap down in place of the nail. There's a bottle cap with some iron content. Giving a pretty good response with a higher number on there. So I'll go back to my iron nail here. And what I'm going to do, I'll put the iron nail back down. Okay, we're still in zero. We scanned over that iron nail and we got a high 20s reading on this. So what we want to do to use iron audio on this is I'm going to go in here and scroll up to my high-res iron discrim, which is right there. And I'm just going to run the numbers up to get rid of that target. Let's say 30 should probably do it on that. It should hopefully make that ferrous target there go silent. So without iron audio, you hear no volume on that target because we've eliminated it, suppressed it from audible detection. Now, if I go in here to my iron audio and turn it on, you should hear distinctive grunts, iron pops and burps, the sounds that you're going to hear that iron audio makes. You can see the numbers. We've discriminated those numbers out. The machine is telling me via iron audio that I've got a clear discriminated iron target in there, so I know iron is present. Now that we've set the iron discrim to 30, let's talk about what that means with iron audio. With my setting at 30, targets below 30 are going to be silent without iron audio, or in other words, with iron audio turned off. The mid-tone above the iron tone now has been pulled down to your iron setting of 30. What does that mean? Any target 30 or better now has that mid-tone sound all the way up to that tone's regular break point. In 5-tone setup, your low medium tone still breaks at 45, the point where the next tone takes over. In 3-tone, your medium tone goes to 75. So everything from 30 to 75 will now be your medium tone. When you click Iron Audio back on, you will hear iron tone grunts if this target includes ferrous composition that registers below 30. Okay, same setup. We're still in 0 with our iron discrim set at 30. I'm going to pick up this little square nail that we've got here, and I'm going to put our little bottle cap down that we had a minute ago and go over that. And again, if I look, I have Iron Audio off, 0, with the discrim at 30. And here's how this bottle cap might sound at the park or at the beach or something. It's given a pretty good response. So the purpose of Iron Audio is to hear some of that steel content, to break up the target and make it sound a little bit trashy. So I'm simply going to put Iron Audio on, have changed nothing here, and go back over it. As I'm coming and going, I hear some flanking iron sounds on either side. Now with a double D coil, if I get right down the midline, sounds like a pretty good target. And that's where you could get tricked into thinking it's a coin, but the Iron Audio is telling you of that ferrous presence. So listen as you approach and go away from it. As you swing back over it, you hear those little touches of iron. And in fact, with a bottle cap like this, you could almost edge up to it, and you start hearing the iron before the center line goes over it. That's the good sound, but on the outskirts of that, I can kind of go around and check that, start to know that that iron's there. But if I turn this Iron Audio back off, I'm not getting that iron response as I come around the edges of it. Just a good target. So flip the Iron Audio back on. Hear that iron response. Keep in mind that you can use Iron Audio to check targets like this, but you can also use iron volume to control how loud they are. For this demonstration, I had the iron volume up a bit so you can hear that iron response. In headphones, you don't need it that loud. I personally like the iron volume down low. So with the Iron Audio in use, I can keep my iron volume low, my preference. Hear it just a little bit, not as loud as you heard just in that demonstration purpose. So Iron Audio and iron volume, you have total control over those two elements. The use of Iron Audio is also very effective at the beach, specifically if you're using the multi-salt mode, which operates in beach mode. These bottle caps here are a great way to use Iron Audio. So here's one in the ground here. Pretty good signal. Now with multi-salt in the beach mode, it already has a pretty high discrim level. So all you have to do is go to your Iron Audio, toggle it on, and go back on and listen for that flanking sound. You get the iron sounds coming and going, and as we showed before, if you just approach it, you can hear the iron. As you go over it, there's that good response, and the iron as you depart. So multi-salt mode operates different. It's a complete set of frequencies on the setup and how it works for multi-frequency. In multi-frequency, you have a bottle cap reject. In multi-salt, you have a one-tiered target ID system. So this Iron Audio is your friend at the beach if you're running into a lot of bottle caps. As a final reminder on Iron Audio, you must have some iron discrimination set in order for it to work properly. For example, if I'm in 0 mode and I have 0 iron discrimination set, I'm not going to hear the low tone. If you put Iron Audio on, what you've done is pulled that next tone down all the way to the discrimination point, which is 0, which means I will not hear any low tone iron grunts. You only hear the iron tone grunts with Iron Audio on, up to the point of where your discrimination has been set.